You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's what one of my basketball coaches told us when I was 15 years old. He said, look, if you want to be the best player that you can be, if you want to perform at the highest level, if you want to win a championship, you got to stay ready. And that doesn't just mean being ready to play in the games. You got to be ready when you come to practice to give 100%. You got to be ready outside of here with your schoolwork. You have to make sure that you're maintaining your grades. You have to make sure that you're eating properly. Are you watching videotape of the games? Are you mentally and physically prepared when the opportunity presents itself for you to be your best and win a championship? That is a powerful, powerful lesson and statement that I didn't even realize until many, many years later. And this is what you need to do if you're trying to unleash your inner champion and create a beautiful, amazing life for yourself. Let's talk about that coming up next. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Grind and Gratitude Show. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you so much. If you're an avid listener and watcher of the podcast and the show, you already know I got a lot of love for you. Now, right now, I'm moving around and traveling and doing all these things, but I still want to deliver this message to you because it's a message that somebody delivered to me so long ago. And I've held on to that lesson. And because I held on to that lesson, it's changed my life. It's opened so many doors for me, mainstream media, radio and TV, standing on stages, speaking to thousands of people, lots of listeners on this podcast, people reading my books, amazing opportunities that I would have never had if I didn't pay attention to this lesson and instill it into my life. So today, what I want to talk to you about is this. Sometimes we get discouraged when things aren't happening in our lives the way that we want. Maybe you're not making the money that you want to make in your job or your business. Maybe your relationship's not going that well. Maybe you're having some health challenges. Maybe you're just not living the life that you want to live. And I get that. There's been so many times throughout my life where I struggled in so many areas of my life. Whether it was my health, where I was 40, 50 pounds overweight, whether it was my self-esteem, my confidence, whether it financially, I just wasn't making the money that I wanted to make, or I had a business that failed, like all of those things, past relationships that weren't fulfilling. So I've struggled in so many areas of my life. And because of that, I often missed opportunities because I was so focused on the things that weren't working. And what I always had to go back to was that lesson that my coach gave me when I was 15 years old. You got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And what that means to me is that if you have a dream or you have a goal or there's something that you're working towards and it's just not really working right now or you're not where you want to be, you got to stay ready. And I talk to so many of my coaching clients about this because often people get discouraged, especially when it comes to business. And they say, hey, Coach Stone, I just feel like quitting. The business isn't working out. Or Coach Stone, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm struggling right now. My business isn't going where I want, or I'm struggling in other areas of my life and I feel like quitting. And I definitely understand that. And one of the things that I want to tell people is that you're one opportunity, one speech, one conversation, one podcast or TV appearance away from changing your life and changing your business. So what that means is you got to stay ready. You got to be ready for opportunities when they present themselves. And I've coached hundreds and hundreds of people over the course of my life. I was a career coach. I was a business coach. I was a life coach. So I've coached hundreds or maybe even thousands of people. And one of the things that I realized is that a lot of people aren't ready for opportunities when they present themselves. And then not only are they not ready, they don't even realize that it was an opportunity until sometimes weeks, months, years later, or until somebody else tells them. Or in some cases, they never realize that they've had a missed opportunity. So what I want to talk to you about is you got to stay ready. What is that dream that you have? Like when I say dream, what is the dream? I'm not talking about what is this little goal that you have. I'd like to make an extra $1,000 this year. I'd like to make an extra, $500 or $10,000. And I'm not knocking that. If you think that that's going to change your life, yes. But I want you to dream bigger, right? When we're talking about champions dream about winning the championship, about being the best that they can be to help themselves win or to help their teams win. And I didn't always realize this, but when that coach planted that stay ready so you don't got to get ready in my head, it's almost like I always kind of stayed ready when it came to basketball. And I was always ready to perform in big games. I was always willing to make the big play in a championship game. And even though we didn't always win the championship, we played to the best of our ability, and I played to the best of my ability because I was always ready. When I started taking basketball serious, I started changing my diet so I was eating healthier. I started training on the off days when we didn't have practice. I started watching video game footage. I started mentally seeing myself in certain plays. And all of that paid off for me because what I didn't realize until much later, and when I say much later, it was after I got out of university, after I stopped playing basketball. I didn't even realize this because I was so focused on staying ready. This is crazy. One day, I'm going through my old boxes in my home, and I think I was this was well in my 30s, late 30s. I'm going through all these boxes, and my mom used to keep all of my basketball trophies, and she would keep all the article clippings. And one day she just gave them to me. She's like, here's all the stuff since you started playing basketball when you were like 11 years old. And I start going through all this stuff, and I was just reliving some of these games in my mind and all of these other things. And I was like, wow, I scored so many points, or we won this game, or we won this championship. And as I started to pull out the trophies, I started to realize something. We didn't win every championship, but I realized something as I started to pull out the trophy. I pulled out the trophy when I was playing basketball in elementary school, most valuable player. I pulled out another trophy on another sports team, most valuable player. In junior high, most valuable player. High school, most valuable player and one of the best in the city. Pulled out my university trophy, rookie of the year, most outstanding player my second year. Ended up dropping out of university, so I never made it to the most valuable player. But I started to realize, and I didn't realize this, that I was actually a really good basketball player because I won most valuable player on almost every single team that I played on. Now, this isn't to brag. It's not about that at all. The lesson here for me was, one, I didn't even realize that I was this good a basketball player because I was always just focused on staying ready for the opportunity. And it wasn't until 20 years later when I actually realized that I was a good basketball player because I was winning most valuable player and outstanding player awards. That's what happens when you stay ready. You got to stay focused so that you are in the moment. You're ready to be at your best when the time and the opportunity presents itself, and that you're not so focused on the future and you're not so focused on the past. You're focused on right now and what you can do in that moment. Wait. Hold on. Are you an entrepreneur who struggles with public speaking? Every time you get on a stage or you have to speak to a group of people, do you freeze up? Do you get so nervous that you just can't speak? You can't remember the words? Or maybe you struggle with talking about your business. You don't know how to speak about your business that gets people excited. Well, you're not alone. I meet so many entrepreneurs that don't know how to speak to attract their ideal customers and clients. So I'm going to help you. I want you to download this free guide. It's called The 7 Biggest Public Speaking Mistakes Entrepreneurs Make That Cost Them 6 Figures or More. I'm telling you, this guide is really going to help you to identify where you may be struggling so that you can adjust those things and get that money, make that impact, and have that influence. Go ahead and click the link below. And I didn't realize this, my whole experience playing basketball, I was just so busy and focused on staying ready to perform in the big moments, staying ready to help my team win, staying ready to be a leader, staying ready to be the best that I could be in my community, to inspire other people with my actions on and off the court. I was staying ready. And so when opportunities presented itself, I often, not always, I often rose to the occasion. And this has happened in my life with my career, with my books, with the opportunity to speak on stages. I stayed ready. I was terrified of public speaking. Like when I say terrified, I was terrified of public speaking. I never could have imagined in my life that anybody would pay me to stand on a stage to deliver a message to hundreds or thousands of people. I just never knew. I never saw that in my future. But what I did know was that I wanted to help a lot of people. I did know that I didn't want people to suffer with their self-esteem and their confidence like I did. What I did know is I wanted people to feel great about the opportunities that were in front of them. What I did know is I wanted people to unleash their inner champion so that they could start to think about what's possible and create a better life for themselves and their family. That was my mission from the time that I was young. And so I always held on to that, but I never knew how. But I was always preparing for opportunities when they arose, when they came up. I was a terrible speaker. I was terrified of speaking, yet I would sit down and write out these speeches, even though I never thought that I would even have an opportunity to speak. So I was always preparing myself. And then when the opportunities presented itself, even though I did it afraid, I was terrified the first few times that I spoke on a stage. I was so nervous, but I realized that it was part of my bigger dream. My bigger dream was to help people. Here's an opportunity. I had to take advantage of it. And maybe that's happening to you. Maybe there's opportunities that present themselves, and one, you're afraid because you're not ready, so you turn down that opportunity. Or two, you do it, and then you don't perform at the best of your ability because you weren't preparing for this opportunity all the way through. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to get clear about your big dreams. Like, what is it that you really want? What is it that you really want? What is your ideal, amazing lifestyle that you want to live? And I want you to put it out there. And then I want you to start thinking about how you're going to make it happen. And so there's 4 things that I often talk to people about. And I think I mentioned this on an episode previously, but it's an acronym. I want you to raise a bar. Raise A-B-A-R. That's the acronym, A-B-A-R. I want you to raise your level of what you are asking for. What do you want in your life? Most of us keep the bar so low that when we achieve those goals, our lives don't change in any way. You have to dream bigger. You have to ask the universe or God or whatever you believe in for more. Your ask is too little. A champion wants to win the championship. And if they lose a couple of games along the way, they're still focused on the championship. So what is your championship? What is your amazing life that you want to live? Where do you want to live? What type of house do you want to live in? What type of lifestyle do you want? What type of impact do you want to be able to make? You have to start thinking about that. What is your dream? What is your dream lifestyle? What is your dream business? You have to raise your level of what you're asking for. And you put it out there. You start writing it out. You start meditating on it. You start praying on it. You start doing these things. That's the A. You got to raise your level of asking for what it is that you want. The B. Now you got to start raising your level of believing that maybe it's possible. See, right now, I don't expect you to believe that that dream is possible, because that's a big leap to go from, yes, I want to live this dream lifestyle, to, yep, I know I'm going to make it happen. You don't believe that. It's difficult for you to believe that right now because it's so big and it's so far. But if you can just think that maybe it's possible, then you're opening the door to it becoming a reality. So if you have these big dreams and you start thinking, well, maybe one day I can make it happen. I don't know how, I don't know when, but maybe I will. That maybe is so much more powerful than it's never going to happen. So you have to raise your level of believing. And what I tell people all the time is progress equals belief. When you have a big dream, when you have a big goal and you start to make progress on that, then you start believing more and more that maybe it's possible. And then you get into not maybe, it is possible, because you're making so much progress. So you got to raise your level of believing that maybe that dream and that goal is possible. Then the next A stands for action. You have to take massive action every day. And this is all about like making sure that you stay ready. The action that you take could be the visualizing yourself achieving that dream. What does it feel like? Who's around? What are the sounds? How do you feel when you achieve that dream? Visualization can be a powerful tool that a lot of people don't take advantage of because they're not where they want to be and they don't think it's possible. But if you see it in your mind every day and you're taking action towards it, you're doing one thing towards it every day, it can become a reality. So visualization, making a checklist and saying, these are the one or two things I'm going to do towards this dream or this goal every day. Maybe it's research. Maybe it's having a conversation. Maybe it's physically doing something. Maybe it's taking a course. Maybe it's taking a program. Maybe it's actually working on the business idea. Maybe it's writing the book. Whatever that is, if you take action every single day and you're visualizing and you're starting to believe more and more that it's possible, it can happen. And then the R in A bar, the R stands for receiving. You got to raise your level of receiving the opportunity when it comes. And some of us are afraid of the opportunity when it comes because we never stayed ready. So we let it go. We make excuses. Oh, I'm not ready. I'll try again next time. I'm not ready, so I'm just going to let it go. And opportunities will come up over and over again, but sometimes that is the opportunity that could catapult your business, your career, your life, your relationship, or whatever it is that you're trying to work on. So when that receiving comes, when you receive the opportunity, you got to take it. The other thing is sometimes people don't even realize that that's an opportunity, so you don't receive it. See, sometimes we want things to come packaged the way that we expect. And when it doesn't come packaged the way that we expect, it goes by. Oh, I wanted to land some new clients, and because those clients didn't come to you the way that you expect, they go by. Oh, I wanted this opportunity to reach more people, and because you weren't ready for that podcast or that radio interview or that TV interview, it didn't come the way that you expected, so it just passes. We have to be ready to receive opportunities when they come. And they may not look the way that you expect. And that is a fact. I have coached a lot of people. And when we sat down and we looked at opportunities that passed them by, they didn't even realize in some cases. Sometimes they didn't even realize, oh, that was an opportunity, Coach Stone? Yes, it was. Oh, I didn't even realize that. I was expecting it to look like this. That's what people have told me many, many times. And the reason that you don't receive it is because you're not open. You're focused on things that didn't go right. You're focused on the opportunity coming the way that you want, and you're not open to the possibility that it could look different. So you got to be open to receiving. So if you want to stay ready, if you want to stay ready for opportunities so you don't have to get ready, you got to raise a bar. Raise your level of what you're asking for. Getting clear about what it is that you want. Raise your level of believing that maybe it's possible. Believe raise your level of action, taking action every single day on that goal or that dream, visualization, taking action, all of those things, connecting with mentors, coaches, and then raise your level of receiving the opportunity when it comes so that you are ready. So that's my lesson to you. Like, man, I was just sitting down thinking about that today, that advice that I had received from that coach at that time. And then so many people along my journey have told me that, like, you got to stay ready. And, recently that's what happened. I was in Atlanta. My good friend Jamie Morgan Brown said, hey, we have to go to this live radio taping. Dr. Rashad Ritchie is doing a live video, live to air. We should go. When I get there, I meet Dr. Ritchie, who has this amazing radio show. He also has a TV show. He's known as the realest man on radio. I get there, I meet him. We start talking. He's like, oh, you're here from Toronto. He was doing a book signing, so he was giving away free copies of his book. But here's how I stayed ready. I brought 2 copies of my book. I brought a copy of New Me, and I brought a copy of You Have the Keys Now Drive. So I signed the copies, and I exchanged books with him. He's looking at the books. He's like, wow, you're an author. I start telling him about the community work and some of the stuff I'm doing in Canada. And we just have this sort of exchange of information. And then he says, I want to have you on my show. 6 days later, his producer of his morning show reaches out to me and I'm on the show. See, I stayed ready. That's what staying ready can do for you. I believe staying ready for you can change your life. So whatever it is that you want to do, I want you to stay ready. I want you to practice every day. I want you to take action. I want you to learn. I want you to meditate. And I want you to be ready to receive those opportunities when they come. So that is it for this episode. I just wanted to share that with you. I hope this was valuable. If it was, please share this with somebody you love. Please leave a comment here on YouTube or on your favorite podcast platform that you're listening on. And that would really, really help me out a lot. That is it for now, everybody. I'll see you in the next episode. I'm Coach Stone. I'm out.